Hello, everybody, and welcome to Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan. Rob, Brunch with Bigfoot, Rob, and Monica. Thanks, everybody, for coming on in. This is the last installment of our Halloween stuff we've been doing the last week and a half or so. Little witchery, little hexes, some history, some spells. Yeah, we put this together. Should be a fun show. Thanks to Monica for joining me once again. Monica Rollins, you can find her on YouTube, Our Paranormal World. If you're new, subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob on YouTube. Texas Front Porch, The Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast. Also, they have a new show called Four Blondes, One Mystery at a Time. Paranormal Paul, Truth or Tinfoil, and of course, Donnie Joseph stuff. I always giggle. Go check out Donnie. It's a fun show. Yeah, if you're new, again, subscribe, hit that like button, give us a thumbs up. It does help promote the algorithm and pushes us out to more and more people. And of course, thanks to everybody who bought my books. Of course, a Bigfoot Michigan Rob presents True Cryptid Encounters. Book 1 and Book 2 both found on Amazon. Please just type Bigfoot Michigan Rob in your Amazon browser. The books will pull up. If you bought them, please leave a review. That does help spur on book sales. I appreciate that. Of course, the super chat is open. Arr! You also can become BMR Pirates Mateys. Join today, join the many, join the few, depending on your point of view. You get a good old picture of BMR in the chat room sporting a bandana. I got my pirate bandana skull cap here rolling today. So yeah, thanks everybody for coming on in. Hit that like button. Appreciate y'all. So yeah, we're going to get on with this, and I'm going to bring up the lovely Monica. Hello, how's it going?
Hello.
Hello. You know, it's hello, Monica. It's Devil's Night.
Yeah.
You know, I will say tomorrow's Halloween.
Yeah.
We've got rain and wind today and tomorrow, so the kiddies. It might be a short-lived Halloween night. Doesn't that suck?
Yeah. So we don't have the wind and the rain, but the temperatures just plummeted over the last few days. Like a week ago in the mornings, it was like low 70s. Right. And this morning it was like 37, 38 degrees.
Ooh, really? That's
just took a header.
For Texas, wow. We're sitting at we're at 49. 30.
I mean, right now it's warmer than that, but
this morning, yeah. See, I know that I talked to you a lot in Texas, and I know that it does get cold in Texas, and you're more northern anyway. I mean, comparatively speaking, you're not by the Gulf, so, which I'm sure is always hot. It probably never gets 30 degrees, so yeah, so it's gonna be a terrible weekend. Hopefully, but you know how the weather changes. I mean, you never know. So just wish for the best.
Well, hopefully, the kids can still get out. That's a bummer, raining on Halloween like that.
It is. I remember as a little kid going out and it was raining, and it sucked because we still went out. My dad, he was a trooper, but my mom, it always sucked because if you had a cool costume, I remember wearing like a rain poncho, covered up your whole outfit, and you really couldn't get into it, and even as a kid, you're like, oh, you want to show off your outfit, your costume, right?
Right. You don't want to put a stupid coat on.
No, coat. Who wants to wear a coat,
kids have thick blood though, so I don't feel like they.
Yeah, kids are excited regardless.
As adults do. Like when I was younger, I certainly the cold didn't affect me like it does now. I have to put something on.
Especially like in Michigan where you get that dramatic 76 degrees and it's kind of rolls that way through the majority of the summer. But then all of a sudden when it drops, let's just say it drops to 58 degrees, our blood is still thin, right? And you just feel that cold because in the wintertime, you kind of get used to it. By the time December and January is here, it's really, even though it's colder than it is now, you just get used to it.
I would prefer it cold versus hot though. Because I can layer up. You can only take off so much clothing in the summer. And you're still miserable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of taking off clothing, I was just watching the local news this morning, and there was a group of nudists. Now, Monica, the nudists had to be in their mid to late 60s.
They all are.
Aren't
I
they?
swear to God, they all are, and they're
Oh
all
my
down in
God.
Florida.
And it's not like, and they're in Florida and they strip of all their clothes and they're
Oh,
walking on this beach, bare to the bones, bare to the skin. Well, they got arrested, Monica.
I bet.
Well,
They
typically,
have,
though, there are nudist beaches, which is
I
allowed.
stumbled upon one
They
inadvertently.
stumbled upon the wrong beach.
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought I got a kick out.
Oops. Yeah, that happened to Chris and I when we were where were we? We were just south of the Golden Gate Bridge and we were walking along the beach and there's this dude like jogging in the surf. And I was like, he's wearing like that's a weird outfit to be wearing because he was, at a distance
Yeah.
at first. And I was like, he's wearing like a flesh colored jogging suit. Like what? That's a poor fashion choice. I just remember thinking that. And we're walking and the dude's getting closer. And as he gets closer, hadn't have any clothes on. He was just strolling around, walked right in front of us over to the cliffside, just kind of was hanging out, so to speak, on the cliffs. Just relaxed and didn't give a crap. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize Baker Beach was clothing optional. Apparently it is.
That's
so you're warned. You want a nice view of the Golden Gate, do it from the eastern side of the bridge. Go to Fort Point or go over to Sausalito. But if you go to Baker Beach, you're likely to run into this older guy again. He's in his like 60s, 70s. I was impressed he was jogging.
Yeah. Yeah. Something you don't want to see.
No, I don't want to see somebody in their 30s out of the blue like that.
No, hey, no, hey, listen, 30s, I mean, it's one thing if you, are look the part, I guess is the best way to describe it, but that's fine.
I mean, kudos
hey,
to
listen,
you for not giving a crap and being proud of yourself because I don't have that kind of confidence. But
I tell you what, I wouldn't do it regardless. I'm not doing that anyways. Whether if I look, I could be a beautiful looking physique, I'm still not doing it.
Oh, I wouldn't do that either. When I was in Palm Springs a few years ago with a friend of mine, there was a nudist resort like a couple of blocks over from ours.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm curious. I'm just curious. Who's there? Who's there? If you already have it in my mind, who's there?
Right.
But I was just so curious. Who goes? Okay. I guess
it's always great to be curious. We're all curious, and I certainly would.
I wasn't curious enough to walk into the lobby and be like, "You have a day pass for the pool," because I sure am not stripping down. That's okay.
No, but I guess some of these, like you can go to some of these places that they advertise all the time where clothing is not optional. I mean, if you go out and you just have your bathing suit on, they exit you from the premises. No, sir, it's late or miss. This is a nudist resort. Clothing, you can't wear it.
Sure.
I'm not into that. I don't know. People are into it. I guess expressing their freedom. That's fine and good.
Yeah.
But hey, whatever floats your boat.
Whatever
right?
floats your boat, man. Like I said, I applaud you for having that kind of.
I do too. I'm not going to condemn them.
Not giving a crap about it or just that confident because I don't have either one of those. I give a crap and I am not confident.
Well, I do give a crap. Okay. So anyway, I thought there was an interesting bit of news I saw just this morning. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
how do you stumble on that?
How do you accidentally go to the wrong beach? Nobody accidentally went to the wrong beach.
I mean, they're in their middle to upper 60s, so I'm sure they still have most of their faculties. I would hope, just a mistake, But they got mad because they literally were arrested and they are sitting in jail. I'm sure that they're out now on bond.
Well, I mean, how can you tell whether it was an accident or they were doing it on purpose just to be weird? Yeah,
Maybe.
I hate to use that word weird, just to be buck the system. Maybe they're just trying to buck the system. They're
I like
feigning
that. I
innocence.
like that buck the system. So anyway, we got up. So we put together our little this witchery, witchcraft, all this stuff, Monica, and for our last segment for Halloween. Of course, today's the 30th. Tomorrow's Halloween, and yeah, we've been waiting to do this, so we'll close it out. And
Been talking a while about it, huh?
we had been, and we said, you know what? Let's do it the last Thursday of the month. I won't see you Saturday night because you'll be on another excursion, which is kind of going to be hopefully creepy a little bit, going to Dogman Ranch. So
Right. I'll be live on the scene from Dogman Ranch.
Yeah, we gotta get some live feeds from that, maybe, perhaps.
If I've got cell reception.
Or maybe you. I'm sure Tex will try to work something out. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure Tex will. Hopefully, he's not 7 whiskeys in.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. You get a more entertaining Tex.
As long as he doesn't bust out in song, we're fine.
He doesn't. He just chatters on and on and on. Bless him.
Oh yeah, for sure. Tex is awesome. So yeah, maybe Friday. Turn on your alert bells because maybe he will do something. We don't know. So how did you want to get this started today, Monica? I got some things. I know you got some things. There's so many different avenues. When I was looking up a lot of this information, boy, you could literally do a whole month-long show just on this. There's so much.
There's so much information and so many little rabbit holes, so to speak, that you could fall down with it. Right. I mean, and to be honest, I don't know where to start.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, you sent me a couple things to maybe look into that I can maybe start it with, and you can, I know I missed a lot. I mean, there's so much, like we were talking backstage, you could write a thesis paper on all this. And so I think we're going to talk a little history. We're going to talk about it all. Like I said, the history, some spells, hexes, whatever, wherever how we roll. What was this? You sent me something to look up. What was it called? The Malleus.
The Malleus
Maleficarum.
Yeah.
So I looked up that, and I'm like, holy cow! I could have spent hours upon hours. It's just reamed with information. So I did the best I could. I read a bunch of stuff. It kind of pieced it together. We can start with that, and then we can roll wherever we end up rolling. And I didn't memorize any of this, you guys, so I put it together and wrote it up a little, taking bits that I found from all these different sources. So the thing about this, I'll just start with the Malleus Maleficarum. Some of the key takeaways right off on the outset of this was is that this book was a book that helped spread fear of witchcraft in medieval Europe. The book provided steps to identify, prosecute, and punish witches, expanding witch hunts across Europe. It goes on to say here that women, especially midwives, were often targeted as witches, linking accusations to beliefs about women's nature. So it says here, the Malleus Maleficarum, a Latin book written in 1486 and 1487, is also known as the Hammer of Witches. The book was condemned by top theologians of the Inquisition at the faculty of Cologne for recommending illegal procedures and for being inconsistent with Roman Catholic doctrines of demonology. However, and there's some guys that wrote this. Kramer is the one here. Yeah. Who else? Well, anyway, here, let me go back to where I was. Okay. Kramer received praise for his work by Pope Innocent VIII, providing papal support, which is basically that's the Pope's approval.
Yeah.
Okay. And the Roman Catholic Church. The Malleus calls sorcery hearsay, which was a crime at the time. It recommends that secular courts prosecute it as such. The Malleus suggests torture to get confessions and death as the only certain way to end the evils of witchcraft. When it was published, heretics were often sentenced to be burned alive at the stake, and the Malleus suggested the same for witches, despite or perhaps because of being condemned by some members of the church. The Malleus was very popular. The most severe prosecutions took place between the years of 1560 and 1630, largely ending in Europe around 1780. And it goes on talking a little bit. I broke this down and surmised it. Women and midwives, the manual charges that witchcraft was mostly found among women. The manual bases this on the idea that both good and evil in women tend to be extreme, after providing many stories of women's vanity, tendency toward lying, and weak intellect. Yeah, there you go, Monica. The
About
Inquisitors.
women's vanity, like men's egos aren't easily
Yes, of
moved,
course.
you
Well, you
know?
can tell it's all men driven back then, right? I mean,
Oh,
they
yeah.
were.
Yeah,
The
that's for sure.
Inquisitors also alleged that on women's lust is at the basis of all witchcraft, and making witch accusations also sexual accusations. So yeah, women, man, bottom of the totem pole.
Well, I'm telling you, like, so essentially, some woman is, walking down the street and a man is super attracted to her, right? And she's a witch and she's causing him this lustful thought. It's her fault.
Yes.
It's her fault. It's not my fault. That's such a bullshit
Yes,
blame game.
it is.
You
I
know.
hear you, and I hear you. And then it goes on procedures for trials and executions. I skipped that to the third part of the book. It deals with the goal of exterminating witches through the trial and execution. Examinations and signs involved. Detailed directions were given for examinations. One aspect was a physical examination, looking for any instrument of witchcraft, which included marks on the body.
Birthmarks, yeah. Or
Birthmark, yeah.
mold. I mean, they
Anything.
didn't like a freckle. That's a
Yeah.
witch's mark.
Yes. Anything.
Mhm.
And then, of course, they also procured confessions, which these confessions were central to the process of investigating and trying suspected witches, and made a difference in the outcome of the accused. A witch could only be executed by the church authorities if she herself confessed. Now we'll talk about that and how they got confessed, right? How they got these confessions.
Yeah, it's
She could be questioned and tortured, right, Monica?
sure. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of them were tortured. I mean, if the Inquisition
Yeah.
thought it was a little extreme,
Yeah.
then it was crazy because they were not kind during the Inquisition.
Oh,
Right.
they also deemed this as a rite of exorcism. And that was kind of, and again, that's all I did on that, because there's so much, but I think I covered a lot of the basics on that. And I mean, I don't know. It seems odd that just because you were a woman or you had a mark, you were a witch, and these confessions were all drummed up by torture. Not very scientific.
Well, no, back then, of course, it wasn't.
No.
Of course it wasn't. And I mean, they'd bleed you if you had a fever or if you had an infection. All right. It's not the most scientific era.
No, not at all.
And then it's just sounds so bad saying this, but it's true, unfortunately, or at least I think it's true. It was just, women were scapegoats for men just not wanting to take accountability for their own actions and their own inability to control themselves. It's a woman's fault. And there's still a lot of that going on today. That there's not much changed really in a lot of places around the world. And even some here at home, people, it's her fault. What if you get a woman that's attacked, let's say, well, what was she wearing? Like what she was wearing was some indication that it's okay to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with the witchcraft, or Mildred, maybe it's not the man saying that she did anything to him. Maybe it's the wife. I like the way my husband's looking at her. Or they want the farm next door and the old widow lady's in the way. suddenly their cow's not producing milk and it's her fault and she's a witch. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I get it. And that's like, even if you go into modern times, you see all these. Well, let's stick with this really briefly. It was like, yeah, I mean, what were these men thinking? Because of obviously back during these times, you found a woman attractive and vice versa, and of course you had children. I guess you got married back in the day,
Right.
so there's a mutual attraction. So to me, it's kind of what's the word I'm looking for here? It's kind of countermeasures. I mean, yes, you got married and had children because you found a woman attractive, and she's the same with you. But yet, if you find a woman that you're not married to attractive, she casts a spell on you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that the men probably didn't say anything about it unless he was spurned. He made a move and she was like, "It's okay, my guy." Or the wife catches on that he's lusting after Miss Thing down the street, and then he's got to be like, "Well, it wasn't my fault. She cast a spell on me."
Yeah, and they fell for that very easily.
Right. Well, sure. That's placing the blame squarely somewhere else, and they're good, pious men, and she's attractive and probably rejecting a lot of the old creepy dudes in town that are hitting on. I mean, that's not the only reason, of course, that women were accused of witchcraft. That's just an example that can be brought into today.
Yeah. And let me ask you this, though. Back in that time, though, let me ask you, was witchcraft, though, a thing? Was it something that was performed by certain women? I mean, or is this?
Sure it was.
I mean, or is this
Well, I
something?
mean, you got to consider like actual rituals. I think that pre monotheism, right, being spread through Europe, there were people that still practiced polytheism, right? So that's more like pagan. They believe in multiple gods. There isn't just a central figure, and that's it. And people that would still be practicing old religions would be called witches. Medicinal healers would be called witches. People that use just herbs, like from the land, like the cunning folk from England. Like you fast forward a few centuries, they're just using natural practices. And because nobody can explain it, right? They don't understand how it's working. It's working, but they don't understand how it's working. Then, that lady's a witch for, curing somebody. Or on the flip side of that, she couldn't cure them. And then she's responsible for their death. She poisoned them.
It's what did they do about? Did they have? Let me ask you this, kind of like maybe a dumb question, but what did they do when you were sick? Was there something called a doctor? Now, again, there wasn't medicine. Science was not even around. So when you got sick, what did these people turn to though to try to get better? And if they did,
they would turn to the healers. See, that's a dual-edged sword. Like people would come to them. It was an open thing. Like people went to them, but they were the first people to be thrown under the bus, so to speak. Like when the witch crazes came around, or somebody's cow stopped giving milk, or Sally Joe died from her fever.
Yeah, and a lot of this was spurred out of that because these people were witches. It was because of just the practice of these times.
I'm sure some of them were truly practicing some sort of ritual work, right? Some kind of witchcraft. I'm not saying everybody was innocent. I'm sure some people were actually, and I'm sure there were people out there doing, malicious spell work.
Would you believe that back then there were spells? I mean, okay, let me ask you this. Do you think that spells happen and spells are real and hexes and curses, not only back in the 1600s, but even through today's society here in the year 2025?
Yeah, I do. I think that I know that people still practice it. I know that people still do hexing. They still do cursing. Not just saying a bad word, but like an actual curse. But back then, I'm sure they were. But I mean, consider hexes. Hexes are short term. They're meant to be short term. Like, I'm just causing you some discomfort for a little while. Whereas curses are forever. Like, that's not meant to be broken. Like, hexes are temporary, curses are a lot longer.
Is a curse awesome cast on a family's bloodline? Or is that just a curse maybe put
I
on
think
one
it can
individual?
be.
Pardon me?
Yeah, I think it can be. I think it absolutely can be. And, huh?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Just go. Go ahead.
Well, I really do think that my first husband's family was probably cursed.
Really?
I do. Because his father was just as much of a just person like my husband. He didn't fall far from the tree, according to my former mother-in-law.
Mm.
And he died really young. He died at like 50 or 51 from like just dead before he hit the ground, massive heart attack. And then my first husband was 33 when 32, 33 when he passed away.
Oh, wow.
And then my son, who was the only male in that bloodline that's left, he was the last Rollins, my son, and he was killed when he was 17. So it's essentially wiped out the males in that bloodline from Mike on down.
Wow.
And I think that my first husband's father probably just was a jerk to the wrong person. That's my opinion.
And that person cursed them.
Yeah.
And made sure that the bloodline was wiped out.
Yeah. Now, my husband did have an uncle, but he was not procreating. He's gay, so he wasn't having children. So that bloodline was not moving farther down that line.
Maybe that was a curse in its own right. Make sure this person doesn't. I mean, you never know. Wow.
Not interesting. I mean, that's what I think.
I mean, no, that's very interesting. I knew about you personally, but I never knew kind of that part of it, which is like, whoa, that's something.
I know.
To take
and it
in.
sucks that my son was like part of it. It really upsets me.
No,
I mean, of course, I can't prove that that's what it is. I just think that that's a possibility.
It's a possibility because anything is possible, right?
Yep.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about all that, but boy. You think there's any way that when a family gets cursed, there's any way to find out the origin, and there's a way that you can break a curse, do you think?
Yeah, you can break it if the person who's casting it is probably the most likely candidate for breaking it. I haven't really looked heavily into curses just because that's not my shtick, right? And,
no.
I think that, I also think that curses and hexes can also be a form of spicy psychology, right? Like, I've said this before, like, if I come to somebody who really ticked me off and I get up in their face with a really strong conviction, tell them, I'm cursing you. Everything that you do from now on is going to be, it's going to turn to crap. Your life is going to go downward. And I'm cursing you and your health and your family. And then I walk away. And then every horrible thing that happens to you from then on, you're going to think back, like, did she curse me? Did she really curse me? And then you're going to notice the bad thing, because we all have bad things happen to us. Yeah. Right. And we all have things that we don't deserve happen to us. That's just everybody. And you're going to think back and think, well, is that a curse? Did she curse me? And then it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, you're just going to notice that and you're going to spiral, because then, if you put that together in your mind and you start attributing everything to that, then you're going to go down that path. And whether or not, I had actually done anything is irrelevant. You believe I did.
And that's such a great point, because I believe that if you take out a witch, a sorcerer, a warlock, a witch doctor, a person that practices voodoo,
Mm-hmm.
I believe I always talk about this in the manifestation of things, and throwing out your energy and your intents. And I think, as a good old BMR, I would never do this to everybody, but I'm just saying, if somebody really, really just pissed me off to no extent, and it have to be something that had to do with my family or close to friends, and I just said, and I just, put all this bad karma on this person, or cast like negativity toward him. I think that sometimes, if you do it enough and practice it daily, which or not, I think a lot of times it changes the course of some people's lives. And then if
Mm-hmm.
something happens and you curse them, then you would think that maybe you were a part of that. I think that goes on every day. And I think certain people can do that and not even be aware of what they're doing. Does that
Yeah,
make
I think.
sense to you?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I think that you can hex somebody and not realize you're doing it.
Hmm.
You just talk crap about them long enough. That's a type of hex. And it's or I mean, I don't know about a curse, but it could be a type of hex. Like,
What
you don't
type
know.
of hex?
In your intentions, you're angry at them and you're
Oh, yeah.
wishing
Yeah.
like bad thing. I mean, who hasn't been so PO'd that you wished some horrible thing happened? I
Oh,
mean,
yeah. Well, I know.
because it's not likely to happen, but you still like just think about it. I mean, that's the type of hexing. Like, you do it. I think
Yeah.
everybody does it,
I
whether
think
they
everybody's
intend
been
to or not.
guilty of it. I mean, because it has to be something that's really gets under your skin, or it has to do with, normally comes with people you love, right? I mean, if a guy broke into my house and stole my dog, I'm not gonna, put a curse on him. I'm gonna want justice and put in jail. I mean, that's gonna be
Well, I'm
my.
going to think about, like, yeah, I mean, I would want justice, but I'm thinking, like, somebody, I'm thinking something a little more mundane, like somebody cut you off in traffic and it just really pisses you
Oh,
off. Like, you're in the fast lane and they cut in
oh,
front of you and then they go 10 miles under the speed limit. And you're like,
oh, oh my God! You brought this up, Monica. This happened to me yesterday. I must say, I will take full responsibility. I was kind of at fault. Okay. I was pulling out of this strip mall, and I was just basically turning right into traffic. And I was a little bit in a hurry, so I kind of pulled out a little early. Now listen, it wasn't that bad of a move on my part. I didn't cut the guy off, but he was relatively close. But I gunned it and just took off. But I immediately put on my left-hand blinker because I had to turn left within 100 feet. So in a way, I got in front of this guy, turned on my blinker, slowed down. And I've got to tell you, this has not happened to me in a long time, but and I knew I kind of hurried that. I shouldn't have done what I did. I admit to that. But boy, I got to tell you what this guy did to me. There was a pit in my stomach. I got angry at this guy, but I also felt like I had a sickening feeling, because you know what he did? And he's in back of me. And I looked in my mirror, and he put up his hand, and he was making gunshots at me with his finger at me.
sorry, I had to put myself on mute. I was looking at my cameras outside. Yeah,
Okay.
that's scary.
No, I mean, that guy did that to me. And yeah, I admittedly, everybody, I was probably wrong. I could have waited. But when he did that, I just had this bad feeling in my stomach. First of all, I was incensed, and my first impulse was get out of the car, which I'll never do because people are crazy. But I felt more terrified that a human being, actually acted like he was shooting me,
Yeah.
because it's something that, wasn't that big a deal,
Uh, yeah.
you know.
But people get mad, right? Somebody cuts you off or they go really
Yeah, but
slow.
hey, man,
I
I'll
mean,
give him a finger.
I don't think about, like, pulling up next to them doing that, but I'm thinking,
No,
like, maybe they're gonna cut the wrong person off and they're gonna get in and out,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, hey, listen, I've been incensed with people, and I admit we've all done. I've flipped a bird a few times, but never have I had the act of violence where I'm taking a gun and shooting somebody. that to me, it was just sickening, and I felt sick in my stomach for a little bit of my travel where I was going. I said, I can't believe someone would do that. But then again, who's to say people go stop on the freeway and shoot each other for God's sakes?
Yeah.
You know?
Uh, yeah. And then I just, when I'm driving, because that's when I get like so irritated with people, I've got to like calm myself down sometimes because people are stupid on the road. I mean, we've all made mistakes, you know, like you pull out too soon, like that. I mean, we all do that.
I did it, you know, but
We've all done it. And I try to remember, like, I've done crap that I'm sure pissed people off before. And, you know, it's a lane on a highway, not a birthright. All right. It's okay.
Yeah.
I can go around them.
No, you can't. I mean, gosh, you can't. I was just thinking about that just now. I'm sorry. I was like, me thinking back, that really it's just sickening. But anyway, yeah, that's so our intentions. Yeah, I think that we can do these things to people, and we'll go back to more on topic, more back in the day, because you sent me something to look up, and all these things that you had that I looked up were crazy. This is about this one about Cotton Mather you told me about.
Yeah, just look him up because he was associated with the Salem witch trials.
Yeah, he was. We get into that, and I'm going to give a brief. Again, I had to kind of piece this together because it was kind of all over. Cotton Mather, it was a child prodigy, I found out. He entered Harvard at the age of 11.
Dang.
Yeah, and he was ordained in 1685, becoming the second pastor of the Old North Church. It says here that Mather is best known for his involvement in the Salem witch trials, where he defended the use of spectral evidence, leading to a lasting controversial legacy. Cotton Mather, the minister of Boston's Old North Church, was a true believer in witchcraft. In 1688, he had investigated the strange behavior of 4 children of a Boston Mason named John Goodwin. The children had been complaining of sudden pains and crying out together in chorus. He concluded that witchcraft, specifically that practiced by an Irish washerwoman named Mary Glover, was responsible for the children's problems. He presented his findings and conclusions in one of the best and is best known for one of his 382 works, Memorable Providences. Mather's experience caused him to vow that to never use but one. Then he quotes here, this is quotations this guy's talking back then. Never use but 1 grain of patience with any man that shall go to impose upon me a denial of devils or of witches. As it happened, 3 of the 5 judges appointed to the court of Oyer and Terminer that would hear the Salem witchcraft trials were friends of Mather and members of his church. Mather wrote a letter to one of the 3 judges, John Richards, suggesting how they might approach evidentiary issues at the upcoming trials. In particular, Mather urged the judges to consider spectral evidence, giving it such weight as it will bear, and to consider the confessions of the witches the best evidence of all. As the trials progressed and growing numbers of persons confessed to being witches, a la torture and other means,
Yeah.
Mather became firmly convinced that an army of devils is horribly broke in upon the place. Now, these people's quotes, so it sounds weird how I'm reading this.
It's Old English. Yeah.
An army of devils is horribly broke in upon the place, which is our center. He wrote this August 4th, or quoted this.
So he's saying that the town's being invaded by devilry.
Basically, yes, being invaded. This was in August 4th of 1692. Mather delivered a sermon warning that the last judgment was near at hand, and portraying himself, Chief Justice Stoughton and Governor Phipps, these other people involved, the other judges, leading the final charge against the devil's legions. Kind of what you just said. On August 19th, Mather was in Salem to witness the execution of ex-minister George Burroughs for witchcraft. So a dude on Gallows Hill.
There were men that were persecuted, but it's the ratio of men to women is a little skewed.
well, 105,
Yeah.
or worse, right? Burroughs was able to recite the Lord's Prayer. Okay, here's the thing that they believed in, which is odd. That's why they say it's kind of counterproductive here. Is Burroughs was able to recite the Lord's Prayer perfectly upon his execution. And again, this was strange because that was something that witches were thought incapable of doing,
Mm.
but they still went out with this dude's execution.
No, well, you're going to go to God. Bye.
Yes, you're going to
Oh,
see Jesus.
yeah.
And in the crowd, and some people in the crowd call for the execution to be stopped. Mather intervened, reminding those gathered that Burroughs had been duly convicted by a jury and that the proceeding must go
Oh,
on.
we weren't murderers. No, we did the right thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Mather was given the official records of the Salem trials for use in preparation of a book that the judges hoped would favorably describe the role in the affair. The book, Wonders of the Invisible World, provides fascinating insights both into the trials and Mather's own mind. When confessed witches began recanting their testimony, Mather may have begun to have doubts about at least some of the proceedings. He revised his own position on the use of spectral evidence and tried to minimize his own large role in the consideration in the Salem trials. So, of course, this guy is looking back. He's getting older. It's later
Yeah,
in
he's trying to
life.
back away from it. All right.
He backed away as he's approaching death. He kind of extinguished himself from the supernatural,
Mm-hmm.
and because now he's having frankly, a guilt complex.
Yeah, well, he should.
Right.
Come on, I see what he's doing there, like deathbed confessions, trying to get out. Like, well, I was doing what I thought was right at the time.
At the time, right?
At the time, I have since figured, well, maybe I was just going after people that were innocent, but I'm not going to tell you that. I'm just going to revise my thoughts, which is fine. I have to point out, like, you don't have to be set in stone with your beliefs, right? If you were presented with evidence that helps you think in a different direction, there's nothing wrong with changing your point of view on things. And I have points of view that go back and forth because, I see evidence in one side that I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. And I hear the other side. Well, that makes sense too. I mean, it's okay to change your position. Just because you've made a declaration at one point in your life doesn't mean that it's carved into your soul and that's what you have to believe forever.
Oh yeah, I've done that many times. Yeah, I mean, absolutely, I agree with that. I mean, we've all changed our position on things. Hey, it's just, something so simple and mundane as when I first started out in the Bigfoot area, I was 100% convinced that Bigfoot was a flesh and blood creature.
Sure.
That was my stance for the first couple of years. But then after doing this, talking to other folks and such, now I'm more of a flesh and blood paranormal type of entity. And you have these people, Monica, that have been researching Bigfoot for 30 years. I ran into that at a conference when I started telling this guy, I'm not going to name his name, that I think it was more of a paranormal or supernatural thing. They wanted nothing to do with me after that. And we were talking, having a beer together.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of people like that.
Man, we're having a beer together. We're becoming buddies. And he scorned me. Literally got up and walked away from me because I thought there was a paranormal element. Well-known person, too, by the way.
Yeah, after the show, you'll have to tell me who that was.
I will. I'll tell you.
I probably know him.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was just, so yeah, we all change our tune, right?
And it's okay to do that. I mean, a lot of people are like, well, you said, well, I don't care what I said. I've since learned new things or, was given counter evidence, and it's okay. It's okay to do that. And so many people, will throw back in your face. Well, you said this on a show a year ago. Well, who gives a crap? I said that a year ago. Okay. Well, I've since learned other things and I've changed my position. It's okay to do that. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. You can change your position. Absolutely. You can change your position. I mean, And there's not a crime against that because we all evolve. See, the thing I
Well, I
don't like
mean,
about
you're a smart person if you do that, and you admit that you do that. You are rigid, inflexible, and
yes,
like just so set in your ways. And I am right, and that's the only way there is. And, I mean, that's just not a
yeah. I
smart
mean,
person.
that's this. It's not smart. It's kind of boring, and I want to learn these things. I don't want to be just
Well, that's
have
somebody that's
blinders on.
closed off to other possibilities, and that's just not how you learn. And that is not. I mean, you might be book smart, but you are just not smart if you
Yeah, I mean, book smart.
absolutely
Yeah,
refuse to consider various points.
book smart will get you through college, man, but it won't get you through life. You gotta be,
Yeah, application of what you learned in college is a lot different than learning it.
oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
And to this day, there are people that are just staunch in their beliefs, and they're right and you're wrong. Yet these people have never gotten any evidence. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Big deal. You've got to track.
I mean, you don't learn anything from an echo chamber. So if you're only surrounding yourself with people that are spouting the same thing you're spouting, you're not going to evolve and learn.
No, you're not. You're not. Can you tell me about? Because I'm trying to find this. I found it. I kind of lost it. I don't know. I got so much crap. Do you remember what was that big witch trial? Well, who was involved in this? Wasn't there like 19
The
women?
Salem witch trials,
Yeah, was that Salem?
it was, yeah, around Salem. Um, hold on. That's one thing I didn't pull up. And
Were
I
you
can
talking Monica?
about it, but the people that were involved, I remember Giles. I remember Giles specifically because he was the man that was pressed, right? A lot of these women and men confessed because they were tortured or threatened to be killed or, strapped to a paddle and dunked in the river. I mean, they essentially tortured them into a confession, but Giles refused to confess and they pressed him, right? So they put a heavy stone on him and then they put heavier stones on him periodically to
Okay.
essentially press the breath out of him. And he refused to confess even through that torture. And he eventually died from it. So if that doesn't make a person stop and think, like maybe we're going about this incorrectly.
Yeah. Well, you were telling me too. Yeah. You were telling me also about how to prove a witch was a witch, and they drowned them with the
Well, they
paddles.
dunk them in the river, right? One of the ways they dunk them in the river, and if they if they drown, they were a witch, but if they floated, they were innocent. I forget which way, but they're dying either way. Like they're not coming out of the river alive either way. So it was a death sentence to be accused, essentially. It's just what method are you checking out? Are you going to be stoned, hung, dunked, burned? I don't think they burned anybody in Salem, but in Europe, like in the 16th, 17th century, they were burning women and men. And that's a horrible way to go. That is,
Well,
it's just evil.
being burnt at the stake, and it's a slow process. I mean, well, you're in agony for I don't know how I didn't look this up, but you're in agony for quite a while when you start at the
Yeah, you
bottom.
don't burn right away.
No.
And yeah, there were 19 people in the Salem witch trials and I'm trying to remember how that started. I think it did start with, I thought it started with two girls who were ill and accused the housemaid of casting a curse upon them that they heard her doing.
Mm,
I think that's how it's like started, I think.
yeah. But also, though, this guy I just talked about, what was his name? Mathers. He was part of was he one of the ringleaders behind this entire the Salem
Well,
witch trials, or he was just was he in was from what I remember reading, wasn't he in the foreground?
he was, but I don't think he was the main prosecutor.
Okay. He was the one to
he was
spur it on.
involved in it. Yeah, he wasn't tamping it down by any means.
Yes.
But I don't know that he was the main prosecutor or persecutor, depending on how you look at it. I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, so present day Salem is not where they took place. I think a lot of people, because it was called Salem back then, it was Salem Village. But present day, and we talked about this Saturday with
Danvers.
It's in Danvers. Yeah. And if you want to look up a creepy place, look up Danvers. I think it was an asylum. Yeah, that place. If there ever was a haunted place on the East Coast, it's Danvers State Hospital. I don't know if it's still standing or not, but it was crazy.
Of course, you threw in State Hospital, which is nothing ever is good back in the day.
It was demolished in 2006, which is a pity because it's beautiful architecture, but it's also terrifying to look at. But anyway, the Salem witch trials, yeah, there were 19 people. They got confession, and then they, it's not just that they got confessions. They got confessions, and then they started pointing fingers at other people too. Because consider, you're under torture, and they're like, "Who else is working with you? Who else is working with you? Who else is participating in these Sabbaths? Who else is part of this coven?" And they were just pointing fingers left and right.
And those people that got fingered were executed. I know that sounded kind of weird, but yeah, they got executed.
Yeah, they got executed. All of them. Most all of them. I think there were a few that didn't, that escaped that. And it's just one or two, I think, that escaped that. But yeah, they were just pointing fingers at everybody. And that's what caused it. Like, you were torturing women or men. And who's going to work with you? The first person that comes to your mind, you're going to spit out if they're, got you in thumb screws or, they're putting you on the rack or whatever.
Or quartering you.
Oh, well, you'd already be dead by that point.
Well, they're stretching you until you're ready to.
Yeah, that's the rack, right?
Yeah, the rack, right? Oh, yeah, that stretches you out. Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not up on my medieval torture.
Or put you on a water wheel. To put you on the old mill wheel.
So yeah, was out in the river, right, or on a lake, and they would continue to get dunked into the water on the wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I confess to just about anything. Some of these medieval tortures, I tell you what, I'd confess to anything just to stop the agony.
Yeah, and it doesn't help quell fear. It just spreads like wildfire because then, falsely accused people are accusing falsely accused people, and it just builds and builds and compounds and compounds.
Yeah.
And that's how you get a mass hysteria, people.
Yes, you do. And that's what they spread during those times. I found something, Monica, pretty interesting. Yeah, well, I'm gonna read this. I found this. I think you'll like this. I think everybody's gonna like this. Again, there were so many. Okay, Monica, what I came across through all these readings was, it seems like there's all these people self-proclaimed witch hunters, right?
Mm-hmm.
All these guys. So I came across one that I found pretty interesting, and this article I was reading said it was titled "Women, of course, consorting with the devil." We've already established the fact that it's all the women's fault, right?
Yeah, mostly. Until Aleister Crowley showed up on the scene.
Yes, that's another thing. That's another great topic. Yeah, boy, creepy. A 350-year-old diary made public for the first time. And this is kind of what I just found this. I was going to do this actually on one of our bits on Saturday, but I said I'm going to hold back and just do it on this. A 350-year-old diary made public for the first time details the terror that faced the victims of Matthew Hopkins witch hunts during the Civil War. Hopkins was also known as the Witch Finder General. It tells how one of those accused admitted to carnal copulation with the devil after he appeared in her bedroom in the shape of a handsome young man. The confession by a young Essex maid, Rebecca West, implicated her mother Anne in witchcraft, saving her own life but condemning her mother to the gallows.
Yep.
Hopkins achieved notoriety between 1645 and 1647, which is precisely the time that I just did the piece on. That's when that Malleus Maleficarium came out. Yeah. The Witchfinder General's bloody crusade across East Anglia resulted in more than 100 women being put to death. These trials took place in Manningtree, which was his home village, and it's among the most notorious of his brutal campaign. Suspicion had fallen on villager Elizabeth Clark, and Hopkins was appointed to question her in 1645. She was examined for, Monica, devil's marks.
Yeah.
Warts, moles.
Well, that's also just another way to break the person.
Yeah.
You strip them down, like you humiliate them. You're just breaking them down as a person. You strip down in front of this group of old jerks, and they start looking over every inch of your body.
Yes.
And if you put up a fight or you protest, which
you're a witch. Now, of course, the same could have been done with a man, because men have moles and everything else going on. So, but again, this is the time we're dealing with. Under torture, she broke down and named several other women, including Anne West and her daughter Rebecca. So you're going through all this torture, and you're such. Okay, listen. I wasn't there. I've never been tortured, but to give away your mom and your daughter as well, and know that they're going to go through this is kind of, I can't fathom that. But anyway, they were already being blamed for the deaths of 2 children. Tortured at Colchester Castle, Rebecca confessed and implicated her mother and other local women, thus saving her life. So Monica, she turns in her mom and other women. She saved her life, but now her mom is now going through the same torture and eventual.
I'm surprised it spared her life, to be honest with you. I'm surprised they didn't kill her too. Thanks for the info. Get up on the gallows.
Yeah. Now we're gonna torture and kill your mother. It was at their trial in Chelmsford in July of 1645, where Rebecca's dramatic account was given, explaining how she knew her mother was in the league with the devil. Wallington writes, when she looked upon the ground, she saw herself encompassed in flames of fire, and as soon as she was separated from her mother, the tortures and the flames began to cease. As soon as her confession was fully ended, she found her countenance so satisfied and disburdened by all the tortures, she thought herself the happiest creature in the world. Again, this is these writings that sound kind of weird. With no legal representation, all but Rebecca were found guilty. Oh, here's something. A total of 19 women, including Clark, were hanged. Wellington is thought to have based his account on contemporary pamphlets. He died in 1658. The notebook, now there's a notebook on this. It's kept in Tatton Hall, Cheshire, where you can go read this thing. It is being made public by a team from Manchester University, John Ryland's library, who are digesting the diary. So these writings from the past, I guess, according to this, you could actually go read it at this, what was that? Did I say library or museum of some sort? But whatever. It's made public, I guess. Interesting.
That would be interesting to read. I love reading diaries and old letters and just historical documents. It really gives you an insight of the day and age back then, right? What was going on in those times. It's fascinating to me to read that I'd be interested in going there.
That would be cool. Well, England's always a fascinating place, I think. A lot of weird.
I'd love to go there ghosts, of course, and to read old tomes, but I'd love to go to Ireland also to immerse in the folklore. especially the Fey folklore.
Well, I was going to say Ireland as well, Monica, just a couple seconds ago, but for other reasons. Yeah, the folklore's cool. I've got to try out their pubs down there.
Well, heck yeah, Guinness on tap.
Yeah, Guinness on tap. You know, we've been talking a little bit about all the history in the past with witchcraft, and a lot of people. You know, I like history. You like history. I think we always have to, history. You know, you got to investigate our history and all these things. What's your take, Monica, on today's modern witch? Do you think they exist? Do you think it's?
Yeah.
I know that we don't have crusades. I know there's no witch hunters. I know that
there's no organized witch hunters.
There's no organizations.
Well, well, I mean, you just.
Well, there. No, I'm sure there are. There's all sorts of organizations that we don't know about.
They, I mean, yeah, there's modern day witches. I mean, I don't think witchcraft ever died. I think that, especially after the Salem witch trials, anybody who was doing anything that could be remotely considered witchcraft, like, immediately shut up and kept to themselves as much as possible. I think that, you know, it's been passed down through families more than likely, because it's a religion. It's a religion.
Yeah, and I don't. And today's witches aren't bad. There's good and bad, like
I don't think
anything,
witches
right?
were bad back then. I don't think they were all bad. You know, there's good and bad everything. There's good and bad Christians. There's good and bad everything. They definitely exist today. It became more popular. Well, Crowley, of course, back in the early 20th century, made it popular-ish, or at least brought the shine light on it. And then Wicca kind of being developed in the 50s and 60s, becoming more widespread, more of a accepted practice. And now you've got self-proclaimed witches all over the place, which is fine. You know, and you've got witches on TikTok doing, you know, different hexes and spells and rituals. You know, they film them, and it's nothing terrible, and it's usually something good. You know, they're trying to bring prosperity or peace or, you know, whatever. But I mean, yeah, you also have people practicing negative magic. I mean, you get both. But yes, they're out there today for sure.
Yeah, I don't think they're running around. Well, do you think
I don't think that they're causing the cow's milk to go sour. You know, I mean, if you consider, okay, so a good movie that has some actual real old world ways to detect a witch is the movie Warlock. If you ever see that, how they paint the hex sign on the barn, the milk curdles and goes bad overnight. That's a sign of a witch in the area. The hex sign on the barn is supposed to protect you. The nail in the footprint is another way that you're supposed to lame a witch. That's real. That's real. At least historically, it's
a nail in a footprint.
Yeah. So you put a nail in the footprint, it's supposed to impact the witch. Like, it's like driving the nail into their foot.
Gotcha.
The iron, the keys, if you remember, the guy in the movie went blind because he looked directly into the warlock's eyes. He went blind, and the iron keys, it wasn't keys specifically, it was the iron above him was supposed to help break the curse.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, the witches today aren't going around. Point I was making initially, the witches today aren't going around like cursing your livestock.
No, well, of course,
causing your butter to turn.
They're the witches of today are just look like average people.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell. Well, you couldn't tell them from anybody back then either.
Back then you could either. That's a great point. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
crone with the cauldron.
Yeah, because all the women dress the same. Yeah, they're not flying around on brooms. They don't have the cauldron of the pot. You know.
No.
Although the dark magic's practiced, so as we discussed a little earlier. And a lot of people believe in that.
The movie Warlock's legit in a lot of that stuff. But then you look at like practical magic where they're that really, I feel like that in a movie context showed like more realistic witchcraft. Like it's not good or bad. It just is. Just like nature. Nature's not good or bad. It just is. Like the ocean is beautiful, but it'll kill you dead. Like nature just is. And the same with like, I feel like if you're practicing a true witchcraft, you're not leaning one way, you're kind of in the going down the center. Like you're not intentionally causing harm to any one person, I would say. Because there is like the Wiccan reed. It's called the Wiccan reed. And it harms none, so mote it be, or do what thou will. Right. And it's basically don't harm anybody and you can do whatever you want. And there's also the rule of three, like whatever you put out is coming back on you threefold. All right. So if you put out a hex, you're going to have some nasty stuff happen to you. So keep it clean, you know?
Yeah, no doubt. You were telling me about this movie, a black and white movie with no words.
Hexen.
Hexen. Oh, Hexen?
Yeah.
And that was based on what? That was
it's witchcraft. Like it's just a history of witchcraft. And you know, considering it was released, I don't think it has sound. I'm pretty sure it's like before movies were talkies. I mean, where they had the cards between the shots. Some of the effects on there are crazy.
Really?
Considering the time that it came out. Let me see, when was it? 1922.
Wow.
It was released in 1922, and the effects on there are awesome considering it was 1922.
And so that talked about what were you saying? It talked about it was basically, did it talk about spells and things of that nature? Or what was the premise behind putting it out, that movie?
Well, it's just it just kind of, I don't know that it has a purpose at all. It just talks about witchcraft through the ages. I mean, yeah. Demonology, witchcraft, Satanism, like it skews it, of course, towards like all witches are horrible, evil things that, you know, kind of hang out with the devil, and, you know, all their familiars are these evil little creatures or imps or whatever you want to call it. It's not a very accurate portrayal, in my opinion, but it's a very historical portrayal of
yes. And as we know, all history is not actually factual. And everybody listening, by the way, really quickly, I love witches. I think there's bad and good. I know 2 women that are actually practicing witches. They're friends of mine. So yeah, that's not against witches. I think, you know, it is Halloween, and, you know, everyone just associates, you know, it's kind of fun to talk about. Every year it comes up.
Yeah.
You know, and it is part of our history, though. Maybe not our history, but then again, Boston and Salem and Danvers is part of our history.
Yeah. You know, and it's worth talking about. Like I mean, Rob just scratched the surface, and you're talking about like all of the information. Like you can go so many directions.
Oh, you know, you guys, I mean, to do a show on this, you know, it takes a lot of time and research. We just kind of threw this together because literally you could get your master's degree or get a doctorate in this. You can't you, Monica? You could. There's so much.
Yeah, you probably could. I wouldn't be shocked if there was.
No, you can't.
Like some degree somewhere you could get in it, because there is I mean, consider how far back it goes. It goes back to pre-Christianity, right? Pre-monotheism. It goes back to, I mean, all the polytheism that took place long before Jesus came around.
Yeah, right. Rob loves witches, so please don't put any curses or hexes. That's right, you scared Jody. Yeah, literally though, you guys, when I said, Monica, let's do a witch show, and I started looking up the witch stuff. It was reams and reams of information. It was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? It's going to take me a month to put this together. So, I mean, again, that just shows you. And I researched a lot of things like online to look things up just to learn, get knowledge. Man, I tell you what, that's got to be in the top 3 of things I've looked up, where it's endless amounts of this stuff.
Yeah, you can do several shows on it early. I mean, and you can go, I mean, okay, so modern day witches, don't just, call themselves witches. They're witches that belong to covens where there's a group of people that come together to do whatever they're doing. There's solitary witches that don't work with anybody and they just work by themselves. There's hedge witches that are particularly fond of like nature and gardening. There's kitchen witches that do all their spell work in the kitchen, have an aptitude for baking and cooking and that kind of thing. So there's all different kinds.
There are, and one of my friends is Varla Ventura, who was on last week. She's a practicing witch. She sent me a book on spells and on plants, right? That you should avoid, and which a lot that are used in making up the. I guess you use plants and herbs too, Monica, to make up certain potions.
You do, and different ones are associated with different things like protection and love. And I mean, so when I go to New Orleans, I always take a medicine bag or a hex bag, whatever you want to call it, and I keep it in my pocket whenever I go out because it's supposed to. I mean, it's just added protection, right? Because there's a lot of negative things going on. Really, every day there's negative, but like specifically when I go to New Orleans, I wear it.
Yeah, in New Orleans, man, I've never been to New Orleans.
I've been through,
huh?
I tried to get you to go last year.
Well, last year, but I forgot what happened. I don't know. Oh, it was a Super Bowl. No, it was the Lions. Yeah, the Lions.
And it was taking place in New Orleans.
Huh?
The Super Bowl was in New Orleans.
Yes.
Last year because we saw all the banners everywhere.
But that was pretty cool. Well, I will tell you this, not to get off topic. If the Detroit Lions were ever in the Super Bowl, I would still watch it on TV. Now, I would love to go to a Super Bowl just to hang out in the environment, in the atmosphere. I like to sit home and watch all these games on TV. But I did want to ask you though, which I guess is what's your take on this? Now, I was doing some reading on for some time since I was a little kid, actually, or when I was old enough to comprehend this stuff. Haiti and voodoo witch doctors. Now, the Haitians and these the witch doctors, and there's witch doctors in Louisiana, as far as I know, and they are all not just in Haiti. Is that basically a warlock? Do you think? I mean, I don't know. Is that the same thing, warlock and witch doctor?
Yeah, I'd say witch doctor is like a really old way of saying just a warlock. They're warlocks. They're just practitioners. They're voodoo practitioners. So in the voodoo practice, there are light and dark practitioners. And I'm trying to remember. Bacoa is hold on. I always get them confused. There's a Bokor and I can't remember the other one. Yeah, they're Bokor. And they practice. There was a name for a light one too, like dark and light, and I get them confused. But anyway, yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, you could call it a witch doctor, but they're just
a witch doctor, but yeah,
antiquated way of calling something.
An antiquated way. And I remember too reading this. I don't know what I was reading, but this was in Haiti back in the day. Don't know if it still goes on today, but there was a point in Haiti where they thought that actual zombies roamed, the island, right?
Yeah, but it's not like zombies, like horror movie zombies.
No, not like right. What they were was though. What happened was they were witch doctors that would take certain people and they would make this potion.
They'd make like a do for dust.
Yeah, and they give it to you, and it slow down your heart rate and everything.
You see the serpent in the rainbow? That's a Haitian.
Serpent in the rainbow. Yeah, I did see that, Monica. Actually, I did. I saw one.
You saw one.
I saw one that you saw. And they were burying the people, in the graveyards. And these people, of course, are, you would think they have the illusion that they were dead because you couldn't sense it if you're an average person. And they were, and as they're getting buried, their conscious mind is going on, oh my God, they're burying me alive in this coffin.
Well, it causes brain damage is what it does. So when they
Yeah.
come back, they're easily manipulated. Like they'd be buried, and then the Bakor
But
or whoever would come and dig them up
yeah,
and basically tell them, you're my slave. Now you have to do what I tell you to do.
yes,
They're still okay, so one of the main ingredients in that is pufferfish, like dried pufferfish, like venom sacs, right? So pufferfish will kill you dead.
yeah,
So you've got to put that and some other things in the right amounts, and they blow it into your face. It's got to get into your system.
yeah.
Somehow. I'm sure they could sprinkle it on food, but I've
I
heard of
imagine inhaling it would be the
yeah.
yeah.
And I mean, it's the same with goofer dust, but yeah, it turns you. I mean, you go into this catatonic state, you're dead for all intents and purposes. This dude comes back a day or two later after the funeral. Well, maybe not that long, the day after you're
Right.
buried, pulls you up and tells you you're a voodoo. And then your family, who thinks you legitimately passed away, see
Yes.
you wandering around in a vegetative, almost vegetative.
Yes.
You don't know who you are. You've got brain damage from the poison that was put in your system.
Yes.
And they think that you've come back from the dead.
Yeah, and you're literally a vegetable in some
Yeah,
cases.
I mean, you're functional. You can go around, but you're not in your right mind for sure.
You probably don't recognize your family and friends, right? In some cases,
Yeah.
Like some of these men and women that were walking around the cemeteries and then made it out into the city or the towns were walking around in this vegetative state, as you said, and they just were odd people. And then, people that they knew, these folks did not recognize them. And they were functional, but they couldn't hold out a job, and they were just their mind was erased,
like servants for the
for the Bakul that yes, and they did all their handiwork, and I'd imagine they could influence them to do anything they wanted. Steal, rob.
Because you're not thinking for yourself. You're just kind of like if you look it up, there's a pretty well-known case of a guy down in, I believe it was in Haiti, and his family thought he was dead, and they saw him wandering around. There were rumors that he was wandering the streets in this other town, and the family went to go figure it out, and sure enough, he was there wandering around. He didn't know anything. He was practically drooling on himself, but he was just the errand boy for the local Bakor.
Is the Bakor just in Haiti, or is it the Bakor all over the world, United States?
It's associated with voodoo, so wherever that's being practiced.
Wherever voodoo is. So perhaps in New Orleans?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guarantee you in New Orleans there's at least one or two.
Are there any spots in New Orleans where I don't know, where you can venture into to find out about this stuff? I mean, there are actual. Can you go visit witch doctors in New Orleans?
So yeah, there's voodoo shops all over New Orleans. It's just whether or not you're going to a legitimate voodoo store or if it's just tourist traps.
I'd imagine they make a lot of money on us.
Yeah, they would. And they do. And I've been into a couple of like the voodoo shops or the witch. It's the same thing. They have everything in there. They have witchcraft. They've got voodoo. They've got all the different things in there. And I remember when I went with a group of girls for my 50th birthday a few years ago, I went into one and they wouldn't come in. I mean, my one friend especially would not come in. And I thought that was interesting. I respect her any thoughts. If she doesn't want to come in, that's fine. But it was interesting. But it was commercialized. It was all commercialized. Like there were legitimate ingredients there, but it was mostly commercial. There is a witch's shop, or you could call it a voodoo shop because you can probably get what you need for those spells and rituals there. But it's legit for people that are practicing that, and it's kind of off of a main street. It's in this really nondescript house, and And that is legit. Like, I've been in the back room and they have all the different herbs. They even had mandrake root at one point, and I was so taken aback because they had mandrake root on the shelf. And there was way back then when I saw that, there was nobody there like guiding anybody. And I was thinking, can anybody, because that is dangerous, mandrake root. You hallucinate from breathing the fumes. It'll kill you if you eat it. And I was just thinking, like, is anybody, like, if somebody brings some of this over, they ask for, a half ounce of it out of the jar, do you ask them if they know what they're doing, or you just put it in a bag and hand it to them?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. I remember thinking that. I mean, I'm sure they're responsible. I just didn't expect to see it like on a shelf. Like, I would expect it behind the counter. Like, we've got other things for you behind the counter, like nightshades and deadly things.
The closest I ever got to a voodoo or witch doctor, and yes, I have, was back when I was married. Me and my the ex-wife. I did a lot of the ex-wife and I got along. We did a lot of cool stuff, but I don't know. It is what it is. We were in Jamaica. Yeah, Jamaica. And by the way, boy, that hurricane did a number over there.
Yeah,
prayers out to those folks.
Absolutely.
So we're in Jamaica now. Now this is back when Montego Bay we stayed, and this wasn't exactly the safest place way back in Jamaica. And we're at this resort, and they told us not to venture off of the resort, particularly at night. And during the daytime, it probably wasn't the best thing to do either. But the resort was big enough where you really didn't need to. But me being me, I wanted to do some adventure, right? I say, let's forget what they told us. It's daytime. To the wife. Okay, whatever. So we go out. And we go out into the town, and so we happen to walk in this store, which was really, really cool. And as we walk in, we're followed in by this big Jamaican fella. And when I say big, Monica, he had to been 6'8" tall. He had the cool dreads going down middle of his back, and he comes up to me, and Rachel, that was her name. That's her name. Hey, man, you got to come to my shop, and you got to buy some goods from me. Respect, man, respect. I'm like, okay, man. So he was kind of creeping us both out. And so he leaves his shop, and he goes, before he leaves, you're going to come down, see me, right? I go, yeah. Doesn't tell me where the shop is. So I'm like, okay, cool. He's gone. So we spent a few more minutes in there. And so when I'm looking out this door to get back into the street and go back to the resort area, I don't see this guy. So like, cool, he's gone. He's not waiting for us or anything like that. So we're walking down. We hit this corner, and the big Jamaican guy comes out, and he puts his arm around me and Rachel. It's how long his arm was, both of us. Respect, man. You got to come see my shop. And I'm like, and we look at each other like, oh no. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go see your shop. So he takes us back off of this street. As we're walking, we get to this alley, Monica, and everyone listening. And this alley now turns in. All you see in the back, man, we start getting into his little village. And there's all sorts of people brewing stuff up, and you can smell marijuana, of course. And it was kind of odd. He takes me to the shop. And now as I'm getting further away from town, all I noticed, the backdrop is nothing but the jungle. We get into his shop, and he starts putting all this jewelry and clothing on my ex-wife. And these women are just loading her up.
I bet.
And as I'm ready to leave, he goes, that's $100, man. I go, well, we're not buying all that. And then I got him down to $20.
From 100?
Yeah, I got him out 20
Wow.
American, 120. So I go back to the So we got out of there, and it was kind of scary in a way, and kind of cool. But here's the thing that really was scary when I got back to the resort. I was telling the front desk person about what me and the wife did. He goes, "Now was that place right around that one shop? I forgot the name of the shop, and it's back like in the jungle, and it was a big, tall Jamaican guy led you there." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "You are so lucky that you're still here because that place is notorious for voodoo and witchcraft, and they kidnap blonde women. And my wife was blonde." He says, "You go stay on the resort the rest of your trip here
Yeah.
because they take them and sell them into some sort of weird stuff, some sort of slavery, sexual slavery. They sell these women." He
Yeah.
goes, and then all of a sudden, she and I were so scared that she thought she was going to get kidnapped off this resort, and they said, "No, you're safe here." But she was so scared that we actually, the next day, she talked me into, and I felt her. I felt it too.
Sure.
We got the hell out of there. We actually went home early. We got on the next plane and left because we weren't going to risk somebody kidnapping her because we don't know. You don't know if the resort's a part of this thing, right?
Well, sure.
So I know it's off topic about witches, but kind of a voodoo guy kidnapping women, selling them into whatever God knows what.
Right.
Yeah. So that is one of my, of course, weird experiences. I've had many, and yeah. So, can you imagine?
That would be terrifying. I feel for your wife.
I was really scared. I was really, really scared.
I believe it.
I was scared with that big tall guy, even in town.
Reason. Yeah.
Yeah. And then kind of forcing us, because there's no way I was beating this guy up. He would have killed me in 2 minutes. He was just so big and powerful looking.
Mm-hmm.
And then the women, I got out of there just giving them $20, which I thought was very lucky when it was 100.
Mm-hmm.
And then to find out though that area, very bad voodoo, very bad. So then we left the next day, I think it was. This is a great show. Yeah, go ahead, Mom.
It was. So with Halloween tomorrow and Dia de los Muertos the day after.
Yes.
It's worth noting if you want to look into other things, Santeria, which is Hispanic witchcraft, predominantly. If you're a heritage background or Hispanic background and you've ever had your grandma rub the eggs all over you, that's kind of a Santeria kind of thing. But there's that with Dia de los Muertos on Saturday. Remember to take a minute and remember your loved ones. And for those of you who don't know, that's several days. Actually, we're in it right now.
Yeah.
Dia de los Muertos. It's one day is for the pets, one day is for the children, and one day is for the adults. It's I want to say it's more than that, but those are the three that I'm aware of. So on Saturday, just take a minute to remember your loved ones that have passed on.
I will, yeah.
And your pets.
And the pets. And by the way, you guys, if you guys missed it, Monica and I had a cool guest on last Thursday, Rob Guccio, with the pets. Talking to the pets, the deceased pets, and other things too. That was for those who are into pet lovers, watch that show. It was pretty enlightening.
Yeah,
I liked it a lot. It was a cool show. With that being said, thanks, Monica. Thanks to everybody for coming on in. Please hit that like button. Monica will not be with me Saturday night, as she'll be at Dogman Ranch. So good luck with that. Whatever you end up doing down there, Monica, that'd be fun. You, Tex, and a couple other folks.
That's right.
Donnie Cho's actually making the trip.
He's making he's the one that suggested it at the conference that we all get together there on Halloween.
Yeah.
So he better show up.
Yeah, I was just, you know me, I told you I'd have went, but I didn't want to spend $500 to fly to Texas for 2 days.
I understand.
You know, I just did not want to do that. But maybe one day.
Donnie's flying in tonight, I think.
He said he'd be there Thursday night. Yeah, Texas already down there, I think. Or
he's
on route.
He's going to pick Donnie up tomorrow morning after work.
Oh, he is? Okay. So that maybe Tex will do something live from Dogman Ranch. I don't know. Just turn on your alert bells. Subscribe to my channel if you're new. Bigfoot, Mr. Rabbit, of course. Monica Rollins, Our Paranormal World, if you're new. Yeah, that's great. You guys, so you won't see me until November 1st, Saturday late night with Brandy. I got another great show in line for you. So happy Halloween to everybody. Yeah, I love Halloween. I love October 1st through end of December, my favorite months of the year.
Absolutely.
They're awesome.
The birds.
Yes. Yeah. I love all the holiday season. January is my birth month. Who cares? February sucks. March sucks. So yeah, I enjoy the next 3 months immensely. As does Monica, which is awesome. And so thank you, Monica. You have a safe trip.
Thank you.
And maybe we'll come back with some cool stories on another show.
That would be cool.
We got a bunch of guests lined up for all of November for this show, by the way. So the format's changed a little bit. Yeah, we're doing some guest-driven shows for you guys, which will be different. So yeah, tune into that. Tune into everybody. Duke's out there, World Bigfoot Central. Subscribe to him. Sir Brian Bowden. Subscribe to Sir Brian. He's got a great show every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. Check out Mr. Bowden. Third Eye Live. Sir Brian. Love the guy. I got to call you too, Brian, on something, maybe in a couple hours. So keep your alert bell on, Brian. With that being said, everybody, have a great weekend. Have a great holiday. I just got to look for the extra, Monica. Good night, all, or not. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Whatever.
Have a good day.
Whatever. Have a great day. Yeah. There you go.
Are you ready?